Welcome to Workforce 3.0. Today, I'm very excited to have Brad Lamone join me in this session. Brad is the current vice chair, actually, of the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio, and he will become chair on July 1st. So I'm very excited to interview him and talk about several things related to workforce. But before we get started, what I'd like to do, Brad, is again welcome you and ask you to share a little bit about yourself and about your career.
My career at Engineered Profiles I've had many different roles within the company. I spent 35 years with the company. I am currently a workforce development consultant for the company. For many years, I ran HR for the company and helped us through some significant downsizing during the recession, and then I've helped us upsize as we've come out of the recession. But my focus has always been on people. I'm a strong believer in people. I believe people are the key to a successful growing organization. We all look at technology and equipment as being an asset of a company, but people are an absolute key asset to every company.
Absolutely. So you're well suited then to be on the workforce board, because that's what we're about, right? So one of the things I want to start with here is, I think I want to start with what you just said, that you feel people are really important to any company. And I've always been impressed with your philosophy of working with the employees at Engineered Profiles. I wonder if you could share a little bit of the suggestions and the things that you did to help make it easier for your employees to enjoy coming to work and to want to be part of the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the reality is there's no perfect place to work. It just doesn't exist. We strived every day to make EP the best place you've ever worked, and that doesn't, like I said, it's hard. It's no one's perfect, but
right.
Once you begin with a basic fundamental belief that your associates are key to your success, then you need to do what you can. We are a manufacturing company, and there's aspects of manufacturing that you really can't make nice, but we felt that if we had a fully engaged workforce, an engaged workforce that felt comfortable communicating with the management of the company, expressing their views, and being a part of the solution to making the company successful, that we would all benefit from that. So we put together what we called an EP for Me committee. And that committee was comprised primarily of hourly associates, and a few salaried associates. And the intent of this group was simply to discuss anything and everything related to the company. It could be a production related issue, it could be a benefit related issue. It could be, not liking the food in the cafeteria, but it opened up a dialogue. And essentially what we did was we turned this group into essentially a group of informal leaders who would go out on the plant floor, talk about things that the company was thinking about doing or changing or implementing, getting feedback, and bringing that back to us. One of the things that became an offshoot of this group was at times employees said they didn't feel fully appreciated. And so, you could say, hey, well, I'll give everybody $1,000 a week. That'll make them feel appreciated. But, there's no way we could do that. So we created an employee engagement committee. We gave them a budget and we said, every month, we want you to come up with an idea on how we can show our appreciation for what employees are doing out on the production floor. And this could be apparel, a t-shirt, a hat, a backpack, could be a catered lunch, catered dinner. Food items are always always popular, and car wash tokens, chair massages. The committee has full reins to do whatever, but from a monetary standpoint, it's not a huge amount of money, but it shows every month that the owners of the company are saying to the associates, thank you. We participate in the distribution of these recognition gifts, rewards, whatever. It's a small token of appreciation, but it goes a long way. It also gives us another communication path with our associates, because while you may be sharing an ice cream sandwich with them, out on the production floor, you also can engage them in conversation about, what do you think of the company? Employee recognition is key for us. And then the same committee, in addition to the monthly events, every year they were responsible for a holiday party where we would invite all employees and their families we would rent like a game center, and they could play games, and we provided dinner, and it was just a great evening. So it's it's a stack of nickels that you pile up as far as employee appreciation, but the monthly recognition was big for us. It's worked well.
I think that's really great. And that probably helps a lot with retention then overall, right? People wanting to stay. I think you have a longer stay rate, I guess, for your employees. Your average employee stays pretty long because of that?
They do. Now that number has been coming down as employees retire. We're in a very significant growth mode right now.
That's
that's a good thing.
Especially now.
But in the same light, at times you don't take quite as much interview time. You need people quickly, and so you might be more apt to overlook some things that sometimes they come back and bite you. And so turnover is very important to us. We are a manufacturing company. We make custom plastic parts, so we have a ton of engineers, all a lot smarter than I am. But 2 years ago, when we saw turnover increasing, we used one of their problem-solving methods to look at employee turnover, and it's a problem-solving methodology that Toyota created called an A3. And so we looked at the root cause of employee turnover. This methodology is great when you're talking numbers and measurements and precise instruments, but using it on people is a little different. But what it brought to our attention was it's the outside influences. It's childcare. It's transportation. It's family issues, financial issues. And so, we took that data and tried to instill and train our managers to be more understanding when somebody says, hey, my childcare is such that I can't get to work until 15 minutes after starting time. Well, maybe we need to adjust that employee's work schedule to allow them to come in 15 minutes later. We have some associates that need public transportation, and there's obviously pluses to that and there's minuses to that. And but we also do a lot of carpooling. So once you get a new person on your crew, you find out where they live, and there's a lot of people that ride share together to work. So we brought in, financial stress was also a major issue, to the point that we brought in our bank, and we have them do financial sessions with our associates. And it's not, where you should put your money in your 401k and all that. We have our provider comes in and does that. This is basic stuff. Understanding basic budgeting, checking, living within your means. We ultimately tied it to, it became part of our wellness program. And you got bonus points in the wellness program for attending one of our financial seminars. They weren't long. It was an hour long. We provided pizza and drinks, but I think it's once a quarter they come in. And for a lot of people, finances are pretty understandable, but for others, it's not. It's a challenge. And when you put yourself in a situation where you're living paycheck to paycheck, you want to get out of that situation. And we looked at all those reasons for turnover. Did we solve all of them? No, but we're more attuned to the unique needs of people, and recognize that sometimes we need to be more flexible than we'd been in the past.
I would think that being treated as a whole person, being seen as not just a cog in the wheel of production for engineered profiles, gives your employees just a different perception about what work means to them, besides just a way to earn a paycheck. And I love carpooling because I think that probably builds some team feel and friendships and groups within the organization that pretty helpful too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So one of the reasons why I also wanted to bring you on is because you have been a leader in this idea of giving people who have been involved with the justice system in some way, or have been actually incarcerated, opportunities to work. And I'm curious as to, first, what opened your eyes, or had they always been opened? I shouldn't assume that at first you were like, no, we're not going to hire those people. But what made you feel like this should be an area that maybe you'd give some time and consideration to?
Well, it was ultimately several factors. One is our core value or belief that we need to give back to our local community. Second is the labor market continues to get tighter and tighter. We do a lot of direct hiring, but we also are attempt to hire organization, and that supply chain, or that supply of temp to hire associates, really began to dwindle a few years ago. And then we also had a success story that goes all the way back to, I think it was 2003, where I decided to not ask for permission, but forgiveness if I hired a former felon and it didn't work out. But it worked out. This individual had been incarcerated for 19 years, came out, was struggling, needed somebody to give him a chance. We did back in 2003. And in 2017, he became a plant manager. So
Wow.
he took the opportunity and he really grew with it. So I had a success story. I saw a need in the labor market. And then I met a woman named Vicki Miller, who you know well.
I do. Yes.
Vicki had worked in the prison system for many years as an educator, and she formed a program called TAP. And I met Vicki, and we definitely had a connection. And her program does some training and assessment of men and women coming out of incarceration. And when she showed me her program, I recognized that, well, first of all, there's like 11,000 people that come out of incarceration every year in Ohio, and Vicki's program only accepts about 100 individuals into the TAP program. And so it made me realize that these are highly vetted men and women. She needed somebody to be the first company to participate in the program. She felt manufacturing was a good place for a lot of people, given the variety of different jobs. And fortunately, I had I met with her. It all sounded very good. I shared my conversation and meetings with Vicki with my partners, and we decided to give it a chance. We decided to start slow with just a couple individuals, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I think I've ever made in my career.
Wow.
Because without the TAP program over the last 3 years, we would have not been able to fill our open positions that were a result of growth. And so the TAP program became a very successful program for us. I became a real advocate for hiring these individuals. We've had, in 5 years, we've had 0 incidents as it relates to any issues at work. All of these individuals have not made it. The TAP program provides them with resources that help them find a place to live, help them get your driver's license back, things like that. But the reality is, a number of these individuals went to prison for substance abuse issues, and unfortunately, as
Hard
with
to
the
beat.
general population, people began to use again and led to their demise. But the success stories that we've had within our organization, we're not looking for people that know how to make plastic extrusions. We're looking for people who are looking for a career and a place to grow. And the internal training that we do allows people to grow at a very fast pace. They control that pace. And our TAP associates they just hit it out of the park. They see the opportunity. I get emotional sometimes when I see these individuals that join the company, and with 3 years they're in management positions. And it frustrates me that there aren't more companies that are willing to give these individuals a chance, because there are some good people out there.
And I know, because I myself have asked you to be on several panels to talk about it, but why do you think some of your colleagues here in Central Ohio, if they are willing to take people actually from Vicky's program, they don't like to discuss it, or they aren't willing to give a go to someone who, has made a mistake in a past life? I always say, I don't want to wear my mistakes on my chest for the rest of my life. And so why do we make other people do that? But why do you think that is in the business community?
I think there's a stigma. First, a negative stigma, a lack of understanding, and not giving enough consideration to understand the people that are in the TAP program. They go through extensive training. They're back, they do tests on them to determine their recidivism, I believe is the word.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just a general lack of understanding, concern perhaps that their workforce will say, "Oh, you're bringing in criminals," things like that, and those are issues that we had to face. We communicated to our employees when we started the TAP program that we were bringing individuals in, but we didn't share enough information with them about the type of individuals, the background and testing that is done. And we began to get some negative comments, and so we had Vicki Miller come in and speak at our shift meetings with all of our employees, and it really changed people's perceptions or ideas about the type of individuals that we were bringing in. And it's not to say that there still aren't some that are unhappy about it, but I think a lot of employers are afraid of that, perhaps afraid that something will go wrong with one of these with one of these individuals. But I really think it's just a lack of understanding and communication about the value that these people can bring to your organization.
And you aren't even requiring these individuals to get CQEs, the certification for qualification for employment. I always have to say that 50 times.
Yeah, I know.
But these other people can require that if they're concerned.
Yeah. And that's a great program. And I think if you're one of those employers where you are hesitant or reluctant to do this, I think bringing in an individual that's been through that program is going to give you a lot of not comfort, but you'll have less anxiety about doing it. But we feel that the work that TAP does with these individuals it is adequate for us and has worked for us, and so why fix something that's not broken? But I fully respect those companies that want to go that route, and my hope is they'll get a few individuals and they'll begin to feel good about it. And perhaps at a point in the future, they'll be willing to open it up to individuals that haven't gone through that training and certification to bring into their organization.
Right. So I want to start to switch gears a little bit. You've been on the board since I came to the organization, and I'm curious as to why you decided that putting some of your time and effort into being on the Workforce Development Board was important. I assume you do think it's important because you've stayed.
Yeah. I think it is, well, I know it's because the Workforce Development Board brings, in my opinion, all entities together for a cause. You've got your governmental people, you have your agencies, and you have your employers. And I like the fact that that combination is setting up policy and decisions that serve everybody. So many times, our friends in Washington will say, "This is what we're going to do. You're going to love it." And the reality is, no,
You don't love it.
we don't love it. So the collaboration between all entities here, and the energy between all of those entities coming together is very powerful. I love the fact that this is, we're working. Our work is in Central Ohio, so it's not, it's not in DC or wherever, and we're working towards helping the local community. It's that collaboration that is so important, because the need is out there. There are programs out there that people can benefit from. There's jobs out there that are available, and to try to bring all of that together in a one-stop location at Ohio Means Jobs, I think it's great for the community and for the individuals. And I love, pre-COVID, I loved every month seeing the numbers go up as far as the number of people are that are served. For me personally, it's been a real opportunity for growth, because I was completely unaware how any of this career counseling or job placement worked. And it's there's a lot of good people working towards the same goal, and for me personally, that's very fulfilling.
Fantastic. I'm glad you feel that way about us. So we're going to wrap up our interview, and I'd like to wrap it up with a question now that I ask all of my interviewees, so I'm going to pose it to you. When you think back, what career advice would you give to your 18-year-old self? It was only yesterday, right, Brad?
Yes, just 4 years ago. Yeah. I think I was like a lot of 18-year-olds. I didn't want to listen to what my parents had to say. I knew it all. I was an okay student, but I didn't really apply myself as well as I should have. I would advise myself to take my education more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I would also advise myself that the world does not revolve around me. Open your eyes wider, see what others don't have, and understand the importance of you, not only helping yourself, but helping those around you. become less self-centered. So,
Good advice that I think
that's probably what I would tell myself.
that is very good advice, and one I hope that several of our young adults who are in our AMP program can hear. I think that's good advice for any 18-year-old. I could have heard that myself. All right. So, well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to share before we end our interview?
No, I just want to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to work with the board. And it goes back to being a lifelong learner. I learn more every week, and I'm anxious about the future, particularly as we're coming out of COVID and we can get back to normal. And I look for the opportunity for us to help more and more individuals become better versions of themselves.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate that you would spend this time with me. And that is the end of Workforce 3.0 for this session. Join us again in the future.